Welcome to today's lesson on warm up and cool down. Two important aspects of a workout. They're important because they help with recovery and injury prevention. So in today's lesson, we'll look at why each of those are important, the warm up and the cool down, and how we perform an effective warm up and cool down. Why are warm up activities important? Well, the biggest reasons why they're important is they're going to help with our performance and preventing injury. And the way this happens is the warm-up is going to increase our muscle and body temperature, so it gets all our systems ready. It reduces the muscle viscosity, which means that the muscles are more supple and they're ready for activity, contraction. The nerves are prepped, ready to function faster. There's increased elasticity in the tendons and ligaments, so that reduces our chance of injury. If you look at the picture on the red blood cells, the hemoglobin in the red blood cells, when the body warms up and heats up, the hemoglobin is more effective in delivering the oxygen to the cells or the tissues, so there's greater oxygen utilization. The last thing it does is it's increasing the blood flow throughout the body to our tissues and to our heart. Therefore, the nutrients are being delivered faster, more efficiently to those tissues, so they're ready for action. How do we perform a warm-up? Well, the warm-up itself should last at least 5 minutes, and it could be up to 30 minutes, depending on what the activity is. Now, most athletes are going to be 10 to 20 minutes. So 5 would be the minimum. Would be probably, in reality, you want to be at least 10. In a warm-up, there should be 3 elements. One is some type of cardio, and the cardio, whatever you're doing, should start out slow and gradually increasing intensity. Because again, we're trying to get that blood flow, get the heart rate going. We don't want to start right out at higher intensity. We want to slowly build that up. Some type of dynamic stretching. Dynamic stretching is where we're loosening up the joints as we move. So you can see on there, she's doing a straight leg kick out in front. He's doing some bends, toe touches. She's doing some high knees. Those are all dynamic stretching activities. And then you want to end with some type of sport or activity specific drill. So depending on what you're doing, if you're just doing a regular workout, let's say you're doing a lot of upper body, you might focus on some upper body activities. If you were doing a sport like softball, soccer, you might do some activities that specifically warm you up for that sport. Why are cool down activities important? Well, the biggest thing we're trying to do in a cool down is to return our body to that state of balance, where we were before we started working out. And that state of balance is called homeostasis. The easiest example of that is your heart rate. So your heart rate elevated during the activity, you're trying to get it back down to around your normal heart rate, or toward your resting heart rate. On our skeletal muscle, some of the things it's going to do is going to keep the oxygen flowing throughout the body. Our body still needs nutrients to help recovery, so it's important that it's still going around the body. It helps with that lactic acid. Getting rid of the lactic acid is what causes to burn your muscles when you're working out. It helps get rid of the excess. It helps with when you're working out, sometimes there's small tears in the muscle, and that can cause delayed onset muscle pain and soreness. So what that does, it helps reduce that. Okay, reduce or even eliminate that as we go through. It also helps with blood pooling. Let's say I've run the mile. I shouldn't just finish the mile and then stop, sit down or lay down. What I should do is just keep walking lightly to keep that blood flowing, because what happens is if you stop, your heart can't keep up with the blood flow with your veins and arteries, so blood might pool in your lower body and it might cause some pain and some dizziness and things like that. So preventing blood pooling, make sure we do some type of light activity. We don't just stop. and then we can increase our flexibility because we're already warmed up from the activity. We can do some stretching, and that'll help with our injury prevention. Performing cool-down activities. Your cool-down should last 5 to 20 minutes. Again, this depends on the intensity of your workout. So the more intense workout, you want to lean more toward 20 minutes. If it's just a quick workout, you probably get away with 5. The elements of a cool down, we want some light cardio, so a light jog or walking, again, to help get that heart rate down. And then some static stretching will help us with our recovery and injury prevention. Static stretching, again, we're stretching and holding a position, and we want to do that for about 30 seconds, 30 to 45 seconds, and do that slowly. Again, we're going to be better able to be more effective in static stretching at the end because our body is already warmed up before we stretch. To summarize today's lesson, I chose this graphic because it does a good job summarizing what we did in this lesson. So again, the warm-up, the two main goals are improving our performance and reducing the risk of injury. So what it's doing is prepping the body, getting the muscles, the circulatory system, everything ready for activity of the nervous system. So things like cardio, dynamic stretching. Again, you can also incorporate specific activities for your sport or your workout to prep you also. Cool down, again, the main goal of cool down is to get our body systems back to normal homeostasis. And it also helps prevent soreness, the DOMS. It keeps the blood circulating so we can still supply nutrients to our tissues. We can increase our flexibility at this point. So those are all important components of the cool down. So things like light cardio, static stretching are to help us with our cool down. So think about for your workouts, for your sport, your activities, how do you use warm up and cool down those activities? Do you think you use them effectively? Is there anything you would change, add to, subtract on your warm up and cool downs? And think about how you could use that to improve your workout design.